Full Scope, a podcast of two guys in their 20s, giving their perspective on the games that we love, headlines on pop culture, and the main mind at all. I'm your host, Wellington Burns, by my counterpart, Savon Maurice. How's it going, man?
I'm making it. Making it. My mouth doesn't hurt anymore, so we're good.
Update. He's back. He's back and ready to go. Definitely good to hear. There'll be a lot of topics to get into for this episode. Obviously, some football ones, NBA album reviews in the second half. In the last half, we're going to do a review of The Wolf of Wall Street. But start off with just the Chiefs win and rally past the Titans in overtime for Sunday night. Kansas City won 20-17, and Mahomes finished 43 of 68 for 446 yards and a touchdown. He also ran for the tying score in 2-point conversion late in the fourth quarter for Harrison Butker atoned for two earlier misses by drilling the go-ahead field goal in overtime. But what are your thoughts on Kansas City? You know, like this wasn't a sharp offensive game like for the entire part. No. Definitely some struggles. It had more of a playoff feel. I even heard like the commentators say that throughout the game. But what were your thoughts on this comeback win for them against a really good AFC team?
You know, I didn't expect much from Willis. It's his first start. The offense is kind of changing every week. Excuse me. So I didn't think it was going to be a high-scoring game. Somebody said on Facebook he's having a Tebow-ish game, which I thought it was so funny. But no, I thought he did decently enough to be the starter for his first game. I think he managed well. I think they threw a couple good things at him, a lot of blitzes, a lot of different packages that he probably hasn't seen since Liberty. Right. But, switching to Patrick Mahomes, I mean, you throw 68 times, you gotta figure out a way to win. The man throws 43 out of 68, man. He's 10-year, what it was, $100 million or something like that, or more than that. But obviously you're going to get the ball in your playmaker's hand and happen to be your quarterback. But I love what Patrick Mahomes is continuing to show. Even though he doesn't have the stargazed wide receiver core that he had a year prior, he's still able to make plays, and it's a easy process when you have Travis Kelce. And I'll say that every time we talk about the Kansas City Chiefs, I think he's top 5 greatest tight ends ever. Yeah, ever. Top 5. Yeah. He has shown that in season after season. He's amazing tight end, but I knew it was going to be a close game. The Tennessee Titans defense looked really good. Obviously, you might say what they gave up like 400 passing yards, but they only have 20 points and they had to beat him overtime. So hats off to both squads. And I think Willis is going to continue to, get in his groove and find the perfect offense and the perfect plays for him. For himself. So the sky's the limit for the kid. I didn't think he's going to do like spectacular, but I knew Patrick Mahomes was going to, be Patrick Mahomes. He got the W.
Definitely. And I mean, with looking at the AFC and also the upset win that the Jets had over the Bills, like that was definitely a big surprise. Like, what are your thoughts on the AFC standings and just like how things look for like the top tier teams in the AFC?
Oh man, it looks pretty good. I think it's a mix because you have the Bills, you have the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah. You got some stragglers here and there, but I think obviously the two I'm looking for and have more confidence in is the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills, and we see them go at it already this year, and the Bills come out victorious. But I love those two young teams because they still find a way to win and be strategic with the personnel they have. I love the way they make plays or create plays for the personnel they do have, and they make great moves in the offseason. So those two teams I think is top tier, and those are one that have more confidence in the AFC right now, hands down. Both of those teams are doing pretty good, yeah.
Definitely. And now getting to Tampa Bay's comeback win versus the Rams, the Bucs won 16-13, and Brady threw a last-minute touchdown pass for rookie Cade Otton with 9 seconds remaining. And another milestone of Brady's career that he reached was becoming the first player in NFL history to throw for more than 100,000 yards in a career. Even though he averaged just 4.8 yards per attempt, and the Bucs kind of like one-dimensional short passing a game for most of this season. What were your thoughts on this comeback for Tampa Bay? Because obviously, like this has been a very, they've had a lot of struggles throughout the year as we haven't seen in the past. But what were your thoughts on kind of a comeback win and something to kind of get them back in a little bit of a rhythm?
Well, Tom Brady picked the perfect time to go nearly perfect on the last drive, 5 for 6. Went 60 yards, 44 seconds left. And he got the job done. It's a lot of out of the field woes going on for not just Tom Brady, for a lot of guys, Leonard Fournette, Arians. There's a lot of people in that organization is going through a lot this season. But just to be able to find a way to be perfect when you need to be perfect, that's the beauty about football. It doesn't matter how you start, it's how you finish, and they finish really well. And I'm looking at the Rams, man. The defense is still beautiful in my eyes. They have a great defense. It's the offense that are lack thereof.
Yeah.
And we know, and it's always a testament. I always go back to this, to teams like the Rams back in the day, the greatest show on turf. Teams like the Patriots, who go, win 5 championships in a matter of 7 years. It's extremely difficult to repeat the same success you had a year prior. And them to win a Super Bowl and be 3-5, it's kind of hard.
Themselves.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm looking for them to snap out of it. They started slow last year too, but I'm looking for them to snap out of it. And Sean McVay comes up with something. The running game is not there. Matthew Stafford is. They should have signed back OBJ.
Yeah,
it's a lot of things. Cooper Kupp is not Cooper and Kupp.
Cooper and Kupp. It's like a lot of how they have on Sunday Night Countdown, like you got Moss.
Yes.
This or Monday night. I mean, this one's gonna be like Cooper and Kupp.
Cooper and Kupp. But I mean, yeah, I think we got spoiled with Cooper Kupp. He obviously went for 127 yards and a touchdown, but I'm used to seeing 168, 170 last year, back-to-back games.
I love performances.
Yes. And then you go get Allen Robinson. He's supposed to add something to you. You draft a couple young guys. You still have Van Jefferson. Well, Van Jefferson went out, but he came back in the middle of the season. But it's just a lot of things that hasn't gone their way personnel-wise, and that hasn't accumulated to what they did last year. I'm looking for a spark. Who is that spark going to come from? It seems like defense can't spark them up. It has to be an offensive player. It has to be Matthew Stafford in my eyes, because you're the leader. You're the field general. The ball's in your hand 99.9% of the time. Yeah. So figure it out. You got to figure it out. And I think Jalen Ramsey said it. It said, he was like, we've been in this position and we know Sean McVay always come up. So we had a team meeting. It was like, bro, what we going to do? Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's not up to the coach.
Right.
It's up to the players.
Yeah, the players decide. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Better wake them up.
And now getting into the Vikings 7-1 start in their win versus Washington. Minnesota won 20-17 on the road, and this is their 6th consecutive win. And tight end T.J. Hawkinson caught all 9 passes Cousin threw for his way for 70 yards in his Vikings debut. What are your thoughts on Minnesota's 6th straight win and just the success that they've been able to have this season? Because this is a very a 7-1 team looking really good and just kind of finding different ways to win.
And I hate to say that because it's one of the rivals
yeah.
in the North. But they look extremely good. Kirk Cousins, I think it take him a while. We always see greatness, then we always see just fall off. We see that J. Cole, the fall off,
Still waiting.
We see, we've seen that when he was with the Washington Redskins, now the Commanders.
Yeah.
And we've seen that when he, came over to the Vikings, that we'll see spurts of being a all-around franchise player, and then he'll just go downhill. But I think they finally figured out what to do. They drafted a great wide receiver in Justin Jefferson. You get Dalvin Cook back. You add Hawkinson, some other weapons, and the defense is actually playing really good football. So everything is kind of morphing out. I want to see if the offense can withstand and continue to go forward. Mm-hmm. And it's all on Kirk Cousins, because we've seen this before. We've seen them go on 4 or 5 games, 6-game winning streaks, and then it just. And they have a tough schedule. I'm not taking anything from them. They have a very tough schedule. But I'm just interested in what how they're gonna keep continuing this success in 7-1. You look at the Commanders; they're just glad to be here. To be honest with you, they got so much stuff going on, bro. Dan Snyder.
We're just happy to play football.
Right. We're just happy to be here. Dan Snyder, who I met a couple of times. I'm not going to say anything about his character. He was cool, but he's up to about to sell the team. He's looking for potential people to sell the team too. So it's just a lot of stuff going on in the NFL right now, and I think they're just glad to be here.
What more can we say? And well, I mean, is there anything else you want to say about the Packers, man? Is there anything? What are your thoughts on just kind of how this season has been, man? This is one that
I told him. I forgot his name. We had on. He's a Green Bay Packers fan too, and I feel bad because he's been on the Kevin. Yeah, and I told him it's not like last year. Last year we had Devontae Adams. Last year we had a solid offensive line. Last year the running game was working really well. Nothing.
None of those
things. Is no spark. Aaron Rodgers has no spark. He looked terrible yesterday. Terrible. He looked like Brett Favre when he was about to retire.
Yeah, different Brett Favre.
Yeah, different Brett Favre. Forcing passes. Just, yeah, it doesn't look like Packers football this year.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like Packers
there have
football.
been past seasons where they have a slow start and you'll be like, okay, they'll be fine. This season, just it doesn't have there's no semblance of just any kind of sign they're going to be able to turn it around.
For the first time, if he retires next year, I won't be upset.
I never thought
I won't be upset. Nobody's playing for him. They respect him. All these players respect Aaron Rodgers and what he can do, but they're not playing for him. They haven't bought into him. And I feel that wholeheartedly. It's a difference when you want to make plays for the team, for your quarterback, because obviously that's Aaron Rodgers. He's one of the GOATs.
Right. But
they're not playing for him. They're playing for them not to like. This is the weirdest thing, not to be like upset because if I don't do this, you're not gonna throw me the ball. So it's out of a I don't want to upset them. I don't want to disappoint them, but they're not playing for him. Mm-hmm. So you can't have that in a quarterback relationship. You can tell the difference. Mm-hmm. You can tell. Like it's the whole ambiance of the team, from head coach, from the general manager, because we don't have our own. It's owned by the fans. But you just can tell from the head to the toe, it doesn't look like last year. It doesn't feel like last year. So I anticipate him retiring this year, and I would not be upset. And I will be content with moving forward with Jordan Love, and that we'll go through. We're going to go through a dry spell. It's going to be tough unless we draft again, but I would do not draft another quarterback.
Yeah, y'all got to stop drafting.
we drafted a guy from UCLA. He didn't stick around. Then we drafted Jordan Love, and he looks like cow manure. And it's just I'm content on what we're about to go into.
It's almost like how the Patriots, when Brady left, they just knew, hey, we're not going to be at another Super Bowl for a long time.
Yes, and I'm content with that. I'm ready. I prepared myself well to say, but yeah, man, it doesn't look like Packers football, and I've been a Packers fan for a long time.
Yeah. Well, now transitioning to college football, and obviously the major news is LSU's upset win over Alabama, and kind of thoughts on how they'll going to really be in a perfect position to be in that SEC championship. LSU won overtime 32-31, and first-year quarterback Jaden Daniels was just unflappable in the face of an Alabama defense that sacked him 6 times. This game included 6 second-half lead changes and a tying field goal by Alabama in the final 30 seconds. But what are your thoughts on this major win for LSU and just the gutsy call that Brian Kelly made to go for 2 at the end, which obviously paid off?
Heck of a call. Because if you continue to go back and forth with Alabama's you're going to eventually lose. So you have to take that risk. I think every coach will have taken that risk.
We're not trying to extend it. We're not trying to extend it.
We're not trying to give them their 5-star players to realize they're 5-star players. We're not trying to go through that.
We're 5-star, yeah, of course.
What are we doing? Why are we doing overtime? We're 5-star players. But hats off to this team. It's hard to get rid of LSU. It's hard to get. This is not the same football team that lost to Florida State. And they start figuring that out at the second half against Florida State. And then, because he's not a bad quarterback. Daniels is actually a pretty good quarterback. And I think he has moments where he shows that he can lead a team to the playoffs, right? And they have an opportunity to get to that if they win now and if they go to SEC championship, which I think they will. And they have the wide receivers. The defense is playing good. The fact that Alabama sacked them over 5 times and they still was in the game, it's hard to get rid of them. Alabama has a hard time this season getting rid of people. They should have got rid of Tennessee. Should got rid of LSU. There's a couple of the teams that played around. They finally was like, okay, we have enough juice to get,
the Texas game early on.
Texas game. So it was just, come on, man. I don't think Alabama's going anywhere, to be honest with you. I think they're still Alabama, but I think the playing field is leveled because
they're not done.
Transfers.
Yeah, they're not done.
They're still like number 2, number 3 in the recruiting class, but it's even playing field because of the transfer portal and different things that get players to other colleges. Now it's everybody has great players too, and then SEC hasn't been this really this good since like 08, 09, 10.
Yeah,
like everybody. So it's extremely difficult because you got to see these people. Yeah, and you see these people throughout your year. Mm-hmm. It's not like, I see them SEC championship. No, you got to see me every year. Mm-hmm. So I love it. They should have got rid of Georgia too. I thought they had an opportunity to beat Georgia. Hold up, no, they didn't play Georgia yet.
They haven't played Georgia.
Oh, okay, they haven't played Georgia. They played Tennessee, LSU. Mm-hmm. And they beat. They only lost 2. They're 7-2.
Yeah,
but no, I mean, it was a heck of a game, man.
Amazing.
Great, great call. 2-point conversion. They could not handle those tight ends. Those tight ends were mismatches throughout the game. But yeah, hats off to LSU staying in there and keeping up the fight because after a while, as an offensive lineman, you get defeated when you give up 5 sacks on your quarterback. You be like, I can't figure it out. But then you start running quick screens, draw plays, different. You switch up. You help the offensive line, which LSU did, and kept them in the game. And that way, you have mixed matches on the back end because nobody could cover those tight ends. Nobody.
Oh, man.
But yeah, hats off to LSU. Game changer. Adapting to what Alabama was doing. Hats off. Yeah.
Major win.
Major win.
And now kind of getting into Clemson's a stunning loss to Notre Dame and this changing, the college football playoff landscape. Notre Dame dominated Clemson 35-14 at home, and Prince Kollie scored on a block punt. Benjamin Morrison returned an interception 96 yards for a touchdown and had another touchdown to set up another score as Notre Dame earned another win for the second straight week over a ranked opponent. But what are your thoughts on this major upset for Notre Dame? And also, like, we've covered games with Clemson where they've been able to eke it out closely, get by, but this was the 1 week where it caught up with them and they just got completely dominated by Notre Dame team.
We've seen this year and the years prior that Clemson always starts off really slow.
Right.
And we've seen them with Wake Forest. We see them with even all these for the state. They start off really slow, then they pick up in the second half. Mm-hmm. Notre Dame, they give them a chance to. Going 14-0. Yeah, going 14-0 in halftime. I don't think at this point you have any speech left. I mean, they scored 21 points in the fourth quarter. Mm-hmm. So I don't think you have any speech to go into like, hey, we're only down 2 scores. It's 0-0. They're scoring on every possible aspect of the game. Block, punt. And then Clemson look like they were in high school, missed tackles, just out of cues, penalties. It's just they look sloppy, and Notre Dame took advantage of it. Now, if you would have asked me if I thought Notre Dame would beat Clemson before, going to the game, I would have said no, because Clemson, I think, is finally in a groove. And I was saying a couple weeks ago, I'm interested to see how they continue to implement. Hey, bro, I have so many follies, bro. Ukulele. DJ Ukulele. How they would continue to like slow the game down for him. They didn't slow it down slow enough for this one. But it was just like, they came in it just out of sorts. So it's hard to come back when you're not tackling, you're missing tackles, you're out of position, penalties, quarterback, the play call is not good, coaching is not good. You get F's across the board and you lose 35-14. Cut, paste, dry. Moving on. But they're still number 4. Crazy. I mean, only lost one game, but crazy.
Still crazy.
Crazy.
And that's another thing. Like, this Notre Dame at the beginning of the season looked like they were struggled a lot. We're losing games, and now like kind of turning it around a little bit. Do you feel as though it's one of those things where they're kind of starting to almost like maybe not the same extent to LSU, because LSU, they had a loss at the beginning of the season, but were able to they're obviously turned it around greatly. Like when a team kind of struggles at the beginning, but then they kind of look to turn things around in the second half. What do you kind of attribute that to mainly?
I mean, continue to believe in your head coach and believe in the system that he's implementing. I mean, he's still a, fairly new program, has changed since he's been there. They're so used to Brian Kelly being there for, 20 plus years. Now he's at LSU, which is crazy. But just the atmosphere and what they're trying to accomplish there, I think you can, each week you take it, day by day, and each game you get better. I've seen Notre Dame get better. I didn't think they were going to beat Clemson. I'm the first one to tell you that. Same. But I thought they progressed enough to be like, okay, we can win at least 7-8 games this season and, finish off strong. But when you beat, top 3 team, now your psyche goes up, you're hyped, you're amped up. Now they're seeing what
they're capable of.
Yeah, what they're capable of, and the patience of the game, patience of getting better every week, and then remembering why you do 2-3 a days in the off season, why you live, why you do this, why I committed to come to Notre Dame for the school spirit, win, lose, or draw. So I think they're finally feeding in and buying into what the new era of Notre Dame is. So hats off to them. Good win. Keep it going? Question mark.
Keep it going. Question mark. And now getting into Georgia's big time home win versus Tennessee. Georgia won 27-13. Also took a 21-point lead late in the third quarter, and its defense, teed off on Hooker and never allowed him to get comfortable. He was sacked 3 times in one possession in the fourth quarter, and a fourth sack was wiped out by a face mask penalty. But what were your main takeaways from a dominant Georgia home win? And this feels like one of those wins where it's like a reminder game that Georgia's, still the best team in the country, and you're going to have to get through them if you want to win the title this year.
They threw different coverages and different blitz packages at him in the beginning, but once they start getting home without blitzing, the game is over. When you don't have to sacrifice one of your DBs or your middle linebacker or your Mike, whatever, to get to the quarterback, and your front 4 can get to the quarterback, the game is over. The game is completely over because he hasn't seen that. People had to blitz to get to him. But if you consistently get into the quarterback without blitzing, bro, psyche of a quarterback, you're going to feel it because you can see when they're about to blitz, when they're off the edge. But if your front 4 is getting there, as a quarterback, you're alert. You're not, like you said, he couldn't get comfortable because they were getting home. So that was the game right there. And that allowed DBs to cover longer. It was beautiful. Their defense is so beautiful. And then Bennett doesn't make many mistakes. He's that quarterback who's going to clean game. He's going to manage it. He's going to take what the defense gives him. He might go deep a couple of times. He has a lot of weapons. Don't get me wrong. He got thousands of weapons. He got a guy that's 9'6". High five God before he came in the game. I saw it. Like I just saw the cloud. He just high five God. But he doesn't make mistakes. And when your defense, like I said, when your defense gets home without blitzing, you can run any package. You can run it more cover 2. They're not going to get over top because they love doing wheel routes. They love, making the defense confused. They couldn't do that if they're getting home. Hats off to the front 7. Hats off to that front 4 defensive lineman and interchanging the defensive lineman. They won the game for sure. They won
Definitely.
The game.
Absolutely. And now kind of getting into most intriguing Week 11 game, a team that just keeps winning, Oregon. I'm still intrigued by what they're doing. They're going to be playing Washington in an important conference matchup. But to you, looking ahead, what is your kind of most intriguing Week 11 game?
We laughed at Oregon. Well, first of all, Oregon's schedule is weak. The biggest game they played was against Georgia. And we saw what happened, right? But I am impressed with Bo Nix. I think it took him getting out of the SEC because there's more talent in the SEC. Given you go to a different conference, you're going to be able to sit in the pocket because the SEC they made him a dual threat quarterback, which he was coming out of high school. But I think now he's able to be a pocket passer and use that, West Coast offense for his betterment and be it better as a pass thrower. I love that. I love that about him, but they're not ready for anything other than their schedule. And I say that because if they go against any other SEC team again, if they have to meet Georgia again, you think it's going to be the same.
It's going to be the same. The SEC is just different this year. SEC is just completely
different. And I think people are finally realizing, seeing how good the SEC is, because we always talk about it, but you're seeing it. Kentucky was still good this year. Tennessee is good this year. Alabama, Georgia, some other ones. Florida is in there, in and out.
You had to bring them in there. You're like, I gotta bring my team in.
We're in and out, but no, I mean, I'm impressed with Bo Nix. What he's doing for that team and being the first year starter and still being 8-1, but they're not ready for that noise again. They're not ready for it.
It's levels. It's definitely levels to this. And transitioning to the NBA and to start off with obviously the major news of Kyrie's 5-game suspension and the controversy of his recent comments. The Nets suspended him without pay this past Thursday, dismayed by his kind of repeated failure to, quote, unequivocally say he has no anti-Semitic beliefs, end quote, with Irving later issuing an apology for a social media post last week about a book and a movie that feature anti-Semitic tropes. But what are your thoughts on this suspension and kind of the situation surrounding Kyrie's comments? Because there have been obviously moments in the past where Kyrie has had issues with the media, the vaccine, and now this season we're kind of seeing more of a clash with him and kind of like what he's putting out on social media.
It's crazy. I don't see anything he did wrong. To be completely honest with you.
Freedom of speech is being taken.
Freedom of speech, first of all, he just posted a movie, right? Jews to Negroes. What's the problem? How is that? I tried to. Puzzling. Yeah, and I'm saying, like, what are y'all still upset because of the COVID thing? Y'all making a big deal out of it because now we see what they did to Kanye. It was like, oh, it's okay to do this now. All right, we're gonna do this to Kyrie because we should have did it. Like, are you trying to make an example out of him? He didn't say anything out of his mouth.
Yeah, just posted something.
Just posted something.
Yeah.
I am baffled, bro.
It's like, what can you post? You know what I mean? Like, it's just, and they were saying like, oh, that's promotion. I'm like, he never spoke about it. Just put it up.
He just put it up. I think it was on Twitter or was it Instagram? It was on Twitter.
Literally Twitter.
Everything is on Twitter. Everything. I don't understand it. Like, yeah, I just don't understand it. I think they're trying to make an example out of him or something because of last year. We're tired of what you're doing. We gave you enough leeway. Now he didn't even say anything about Jewish people. He didn't say anything about. So why does he have to meet with Jewish leaders? Why does he have to do all these stipulations to play basketball again?
Yeah, the stipulations that they recently put up are like crazy. That's a full-length laundry list of things he's got to do. And
yes,
even people are saying like Kyrie might decide, hey, this is not for me. I don't have to continue to, and I would be fully okay with it, fully support it, because like you shouldn't have to kind of go through all that just to get back and play basketball.
They're trying to appeal it. The Players Association trying to appeal it, but if he retires, and I hope he does, because you don't need to. I think you're solidified. I think you solidified in basketball. You got a championship. We see you as top 10 greatest point guard ever. I don't think you will ever win another championship ever again. So I think you made enough money from the NBA. I think you're good. I think you should go philanthropy. I think you should be advocate for the things you want to do. Freedom of speech is definitely one of them. I will support him because he did nothing wrong. Nothing. The owner or whoever for the Suns, he didn't have to go through all this. Right. About what you said about black people or his remarks.
Yeah.
Yeah, none of that. He didn't have to go meet with any black leaders. It's crazy. It's
Double
crazy
standard.
to me.
It's
Double.
clear.
We went through the same thing y'all did.
Yeah.
Same team. What's Scum said about Lecrae? He made a song said same team. It was Swoop.
It's getting to that point. Like even with, like you said, with what happened with COVID last year, I do think there's a possibility that that's extending into this year. People had a major issue with him not taking the vaccine, not wanting to do it, and it almost feels as though it's leaning into an example for this season. And even looking more at this net team, they recently fired Steve Nash, and now kind of trying to find the next coaching direction. Like, what are your thoughts on that departure and also kind of the season Brooklyn is having? Because it's almost feels similar to last year where there's just not that chemistry and cohesiveness. Obviously, Kyrie and KD are able to put together great performances, but there's not that collective unit. And obviously Seth Curry is out, but you're just still not feeling that, hey, this is not one of the best teams in the East. This is a team that's really middling.
It's the same thing. Well, I feel it's similar to the Green Bay Packers situation. It's you respect the player for what he did, what he's done in the past, and his resume, but it's a difference playing for him. They didn't want to play for Steve Nash. I feel like they respect Steve Nash for what he did for the game of basketball, but as a coach, they didn't respect him. They're not gonna, like you said, they're not listening to me. So it's kind of hard to coach a team who doesn't listen to you, who changes the plays, who does what they want to on the court with no repercussions. So obviously, it was, I don't know who there will get in there for them to listen to this coach, but I think it was a great move by both of them. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to put myself through this torture for this organization, and these players don't listen to me. So I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was a clean kill. I thought it was a clean kill, bro, because both of them said, hey, you know what? This ain't for me, brother.
This is not for me. I'm back out. I'm going to back out.
I don't think it is either. So we good. We're good. I'll see you later.
See you later. See you on the other
clean
side.
Kill. Clean kill, man. But for the state of basketball, I mean, if Kyrie's not going to come back, if he retires and it's KD's going to leave. He's going to try to get out. I don't know if they're going to be. Yeah.
He's eventually going to leave.
So Brooklyn's going to go back to that slumber like they were in before. No. They were decent in 2019-20.
D'Angelo Russell in that unit. Like that team had strong. That team was solid.
They were good. But before that, they were in a slumber. So they might go to that slumber again.
And before we get to our next topic, the Warriors, obviously the defending champs, have really kind of been struggling, all 3-7, and kind of not have had that same kind of cohesive feel to what they've been doing in terms of the recent road losses that they're having. Like, what are your thoughts on some of the struggles you're seeing from them? Is it one of those things where this is possibly, hey, this is an early start to this season where there's some issues, offensive struggles early on, and that they can eventually figure it out, or are you possibly more concerned with kind of the early struggles that they're going through?
That is a good question. I feel like we've seen different stages of this team. Like we see them start a fire. We see them start off like really, really slow, and we've seen them start off mid. But every situation they started in, they always ended strong. I think they missed the playoffs like once in the past 7 years, 8 years, possibly. Yeah. And that's when everybody was hurt.
Yeah.
So I'm never, ever worried about that squad. Even when they go through their squabbles, they figure out a way to win, and they figure out a way to play for each other eventually. Mm-hmm. And I think last year we saw that they started off decent. And then, they started off good and went crazy. But the year before that, they started off decent, and we saw that,
got to play in. Yeah, got to play in tournament.
Yeah. And then they was like, okay, next year, y'all going to see a different team. And we saw a different team.
And we saw
so,
it.
So I'm not, I'm not worried about that squad. I feel like they're going to figure it out. I think they have a great front court, back court, and they have a great bench. Mm-hmm. They're going to figure it out. That's what they do. If any team I'm like solidified in confidence with, and intertwined with it, it's them. No worries. Because like I said, we saw them start off really slow. We see them start off on fire, and we see them start off mid. In every opportunity, in every situation they've done, they ended strong. So, no, this situation won't be better, any different.
And now kind of getting into if Cleveland or Milwaukee start to the season has been more impressive. These are the top two teams in the East. Milwaukee's 9-0, Cleveland's 8-1. Donovan Mitchell has quickly kind of, made his presence felt with this Cavs team, and the big man duo of Jared Allen and Evan Mobley has been very solid defensively. And on the other side, Giannis is having another MVP caliber season while they're still finding a multitude of ways to win. But what are your thoughts on, which team has kind of been more impressive? Because obviously Milwaukee, they have that championship experience, but this Cleveland team, they're really kind of finding just hitting their stride. Donovan Mitchell is just really accelerating this team's growth, and they're one of the top two teams in the East right now.
I'm not gonna eat that crow just yet, because when we said I didn't expect what it's only 10th game of the season.
Yeah.
72 more to go, not including the playoffs if they make the playoffs. So I'm not gonna eat that crow yet, but I will say Cleveland Cavaliers start has been more impressive than the Milwaukee Bucks. You look at the Cleveland Cavaliers roster, we got right now a rejuvenated Kevin Love who has been knocking down threes. And, Donovan Mitchell is playing like we've seen him at Utah Jazz. He's always plays good in the beginning, middle of the season, and then tail end he kind of wanes, and then when he gets to playoffs, he's non-existent. So now that's why I said I'm not going to eat the crow yet, but I do think their 8-1 start is way more impressive than the Milwaukee Bucks, because I expect that from them now, because Giannis has got 3 solidified years under his belt now, and then he has his best guy back, and they make great moves in the offseason, so I love what they're doing, but I'm not surprised, but I want to see if they can continue to go down this road and be that successful. 50 game in, 53 game in.
Yeah, that's the metric.
Have after the break, after the the All-Star break, what it looks like then. 9-1, that's cool. That's good. That's good. They haven't been 9-1 since LeBron James left. Okay, cool. But it's so hard to continue that success. It's a long season. So, but I'm not taking anything. I love this. What Donovan Mitchell is doing. Kevin Love looks like he's rejuvenated. I think they got some young guys that are coming off the bench who are doing pretty good. I see Darius Garland is coming to his own, and I'm more and more getting on that bandwagon, but it's taking some time. But, I think, Darius Garland, if he continues to go down that road, and then, Kevin, we get a rejuvenated Kevin Love. Kevin, that's who I'm more, excited about, because Kevin Love has been through a lot in the NBA, going from the number one guy, going 40-20 every night for the Timberwolves, and then going to the Cavaliers and just going through his depression. Now he's finally back. I'm loving it. Keep shooting those threes, Kevin. But I think their start is way more impressive because they have a younger squad, obviously.
Right.
And then I'm just, I'm interested to see if Donovan Mitchell can continue that success with this team.
Definitely. And like, are there any other Eastern Conference teams that have impressed you? Because obviously Atlanta, they're 6-3. It's Toronto 6-4. Boston is still 6-3. Like, have there been any other teams in the East that have kind of impressed you with how they, for an early start to the season with what they're currently doing?
Chicago.
Yeah.
5-6. Still got some bruises, but I mean, DeMar DeRozan looks good, man.
Mid-range.
Looks really good. Mid-range. Yes, he looks good. I think they have potential. They had potential last year before everybody started going down. Yeah. Lonzo went down. Zach LaVine went down. So I think they definitely have some upside. 5-6. I love what they are right now. They're number 7 in the East. Good number to be in, but I think they're a mid-late season type of team who's going to grow stronger.
Make that second half run.
And I think DeMar DeRozan is definitely a great leader. And I've seen that when he was with Toronto and the Spurs, just having those, 2 different coaching styles, 2 different, teams, especially with the Great White Snowman. Remember that?
Brought it back. That's one of the OG. That's one of the OG references.
Yes, Greg Popovich, the Great White Snowman, man.
Yeah.
But no, I like Chicago. I like what Chicago is, and Boston hasn't impressed me still just yet. I think they're still coming to their own still. But I like Chicago. I think Chicago is going to make a run for it.
Absolutely. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to the show, and now we're getting to the second half of our topics, and we're joined by a special guest, Maurice Hendricks, a good time, a friend of the show. It's been on yeah. Got to bring the round of applause. Thanks so much for being back on, bro.
What's up, man? How you doing? Doing good.
Yeah, man, definitely doing good. And to start off, before we get into album reviews, obviously thoughts on the tragic passing of Takeoff and kind of, the unfortunate cycle of this happening. The last Tuesday morning, Takeoff was shot and killed in Houston, Texas, and police received a call of a shooting in progress around 2:34 a.m. local time. This is obviously a major blow to hip hop and him, being originally from the very influential trio, the Migos. But to you, Maurice, how will you remember Takeoff, in the short life he had, and also kind of, the continued loss of rappers we've had this year?
Yeah, man. It's when I heard the news, it was so surprising. I was like, how? It wasn't surprising in the sense that it happened because it happens all the time, right? And it's continuing to happen. So at this point, it's we have to take a look into why it's happening and what's going on. What are we promoting in our music and stuff that is allowing this to happen? But yeah, still tragic news to hear, especially when you hear about the actual circumstances of what went down. That's bro, just in the wrong place at the wrong time. So it's just sad to hear, man. We just got to do better,
Yeah, definitely. Savon, to you, what were your thoughts when you first heard the news and just kind of Maurice was saying, the cycle that we kind of are continuing to see tragically?
Yeah, wrong place at the wrong time. To be completely honest with you, it just I never understood dice throwing dice anyways, but just have that slight moment of if people didn't feel like they had to say something when they're being disrespected, or learning when to say stuff and not say anything, because that escalated too fast. And then how do you get shot by your own people? It's just the weirdest thing ever. So, man, that's really sad because I never knew that Offset was the nephew of Quavo until he passed. I didn't know that. I didn't know they were related. I knew they were cool or whatever, but I never knew they were related, which is, it hits a little harder now knowing their relationship. And that's why they kind of, obviously, Quavo and Offset stayed while, the Quavo and Takeoff stayed while Offset did his own thing. So, but it's very sad, man. I thought Takeoff was the better Mingo, the better rapper. To be honest with you, his flow was a little bit better. His ad-libs.
We had just talked about him with their last album. Yeah, we just talked about them. Yeah.
So, man, that's very sad. Wrong place at the wrong time. But just knowing how to control I know they probably was drinking and other stuff was in the system, so it's kind of hard to.
Emotions.
Yeah, control your emotions. Yeah. He would still be here. If y'all would have just talk, whatever, bro. We about to slide. I'm not about to even do with this, and walk away.
Yeah, I mean the crazy thing is
that late too.
Yeah.
That late, it just didn't make sense.
The crazy thing was it wasn't even Takeoff that was getting angry, right? It was other people that were getting heated. He just stood up to I think calm down the situation, or he just stood up out of nowhere. I think from what I've read, just kind of either get away, walk away, or calm down the situation, and then bam, he got shot from crossfire or something. So that's just the craziest thing to me. How did it escalate to that level to where you're caught in the crossfire and stuff like that? He wasn't even the guy that was beefing with anybody or talking. So that's the crazy part.
Yeah, definitely. And getting to our first album review with Drake and 21 Savage's Her Loss, and kind of thoughts on this collaboration. In this new album, there's a lot of beats on here, kind of that blend up tempo trap vibes with old school R&B and debonair hip hop vibes. Drake, sounded extremely competitive and focused throughout the project, and 21 kind of adds relatable greatness throughout. But to you, Maurice, looking at this collab album, obviously ever since the Jimmy Cooks collaboration, that they've kind of been deemed as a possible project coming. But what were your thoughts on this overall project and just some of your initial takeaways?
All right.
He's laughing.
I'm about to hit y'all with that Savon review real quick. the controversial Savon review. I'm not gonna lie, man. I came in with low expectations because we've talked about this before, where I think Drake's at a point where he doesn't really have that much to prove. He's not being pressed to try anything new. So I think I came in with low expectations in the sense that I wasn't expecting anything new, experimental. I was expecting previous Drake. But man, to me, I don't see all the hype behind this album. Don't get me wrong. I will say the production was amazing. I do like the production, right? I do think like I don't know, man. Like to me, it was just like not it. Like there's none of the songs on this project. Like where are the hits? There's not a single hit on this album that's gonna like last like any of his previous work. And like it's supposed to be a collab album, and 21 is on there for like 10% of the time. You know what I'm saying?
It felt like more of a Drake project than a 21 project.
Yes, and I think like the biggest thing, like I said before, is like Drake's not being challenged by anyone to try anything new. And I came in expecting that, but somehow he still like didn't meet those expectations. So that's like the crazy part. I just realized like I'm tired of like listening to the same Drake over and over again that like isn't growing as an artist and as a person, I guess. Because like I think like I saw this I heard this in a Chauncey interview too. It was like the YouTube video. He was just
Chauncey's
like,
a hater. Chauncey's a hater. Oh my
he is a hater. I'm not gonna lie. He's a hater, but he has some good
Drake's
points.
done. He said Drake's done. Oh, get out of here. Get out of here. You listen to the middle of the ocean. Listen to the middle of the ocean. Come on, man.
He has some good points though. One of them was basically like the things that we liked Drake for back then are at this age is not like it's not like cool, I guess, anymore for Drake to be rapping about the same thing. Like I don't like Drake anymore because of that. Like it's like I want something else from Drake, like other stuff that I've seen him like kind of do. So that's my thoughts on it. Like just really like I'm not disappointed, but like I'm also just like not wowed, and I'm not that impressed with this project. To be honest,
Oh my goodness, not impressed.
Not impressed.
I'm stunned, man. Say
why? Wait. Why are you stunned, Wellington?
I thought there were a lot of on this project. I really did. I thought.
Go ahead, Wellington.
To me, obviously, the main critique is the fact that it was more Drake than 21. I feel like for a collab album, like what we saw with Drake and Future and What a Time to Be Alive, that was more of the 50-50 split. I think the thing is, like some people are saying, they kind of want to see Drake challenge himself more, and that's if that's what you were looking for, then I can see why you would be disappointed. But I think Drake and 21 have good chemistry. It's just the fact that you possibly didn't get the right split, the right 50-50 split. That I think that's probably right. Most people are disappointed. But to you, Savon, what were your kind of initial takeaways?
I don't think that would have helped Wellington, to be completely honest with you. That this project was boo-boo. It was really boo-boo. I literally was like, why is Drake? This is not you, bro. Like, even with the collab with Future, that was more his level.
More his pocket.
21 is, I'm a trap star. I kill people. Drake, you won't even kill a fly. Like, what? I don't want to hear you talk murder gang. I don't want to hear you say that. I don't. Murder gang. I don't want to hear you say that. That's 21. And I'm not a big 21 Savage fan. So it was kind of like, whatever. Like the bar, he said, what is it? The bartender, don't look at my ID.
ID.
I'm 21.
Yeah, 21. Yeah.
Tomato emoji. Boo, bro.
Bro, the internet was going hard over that line, bro. What you talking about? The internet was like, oh my God, 21 best lyricists of all time, bro. Like
that was so ABC 1, 2, 3. Bro, that was I'm just not impressed. Like you said, I'm not impressed with this album, even if it was 7% Drake. It just wasn't. I don't like Drake in that mode. Like, it's certain songs like Nonstop, 8 out of 10. Right. Those are in your level. But when you talking about other, like, come on, bro. Just he's disappointed me twice in a row.
Oh, because he didn't like the Honestly Nevermind review.
I didn't
he didn't like the summer vibes. He didn't like a text go.
Yeah. See, but my thing is like, in that situation, like I couldn't be mad at him for trying something new, right?
Yeah, he challenged himself.
Yeah. And so like when I re-listened to the album, I listened to it for what it was, and I liked it, right?
Vibes, man.
Exactly. Vibes. With this album, I've listened to it like 3 or 4 times already, right? Like, and I'm trying to figure out like why I just can't like vibe with it, and it's just because like I don't know. It's just like it's just the same Drake over and over again. He has this formula that he goes to. even and y'all gonna hate me for this, but even with Middle of the Ocean, bro.
Oh, don't tell me you're gonna hate it.
Don't tell me that's one of his best. Like that's not a 3 a.m. track. That's not a timestamp track, bro. That's nowhere near his level. Like it's the same formula, right? It's the same like flow. Like he's getting in with the flow. He's getting in with the pen and like his style of rapping. But like when you actually like listen to the lyrics and like look at them and they're like, what is he rapping about? Like what did he rap about on that song? Tell me right now.
I don't remember.
He's so much richer than us. He's so much richer than us. He's so much.
Yeah, bro. I don't remember that song.
You remember when he used to rap about like getting to the top of the game or like staying at the top of the game, but now he's rapping about how rich he is, and he does that every song. So it's just like, all right, cool, bro. We know how rich you are. We know you're a single bachelor. Like you're 30. Like what? He almost 40, and he's still talking. Yeah. Oh my god.
On his defense, like what else is there to talk about?
That's what I'm saying. It's kind of like if you were at that, I don't know, man.
You're at that level now.
If you're at the top of the mountain, what else are you going to talk about? Jay does the same thing.
Gambling?
Jay does the same thing.
Oh, I gamble every Thursday. In a different way, bro. Like, what is he going to talk about next?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's all. Like that's a level people want to get to.
Exactly.
Yeah. You're not wrong. I think okay, but like Jay-Z, like he does it in a different way, like because he doesn't do it as much. I think that's like the thing, right? He just drops. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I think that's what it is, really. So I think if he just like took back the frequency at which he talks about the same stuff, maybe we'll like start like wanting him to still talk about it. But like, yeah, I'm over it at this point, you know.
You're not wrong either, because I'm tired of this too. Because I'm disappointed. I'm still listening to other Bibles.
I never thought I would see the day where Joe Budden praises 2 Drake albums and Savon and Maurice criticize 2 Drake albums back to back. Man, never thought.
Don't tell me Joe Budden likes this album.
No Budden like it.
Wow.
He rocked with 21 Savage too. He likes 21 Savage music. So obviously, I mean, if you like 21, do you like Drake?
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, I'd rather see another Future and Drake.
That would be amazing.
One time do that too. That would be amazing.
They don't miss. They don't miss together.
Yeah. I don't think it will happen. Especially after this album. Like
they're on tour.
He's not going to do another one.
Tour. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now getting into our next review with Divisions working on My Karma in their latest project, which was one of the most kind of highly anticipated R&B albums of the year, executive produced by Jermaine Dupri, and there's elements of admitting toxic ways in past relationships, and some people kind of having to lose in order to appreciate having what they have in the first place. But to you, Maurice, like what were your initial thoughts on this album and kind of the direction that they took in it?
Yeah, so this is actually the first like Division album I fully listened to. Like I think I've listened to a couple of the other songs in the past or some singles every now and then, but this is the first album that I sat back and really like took in. But yeah, overall I really like this. The soundscape on this project, like the instrumentation is amazing. And I really liked like Take It Slow, and then there was one more song I really liked to add it to the playlist. I think it was like Stay Faithful or something like that.
Stay Faithful is no one.
Yeah. But yeah, dude, just the soundscape, and like to me it was something fresh. Like it was something fresh in music that I'm really missing right now. Like I'm craving something fresh, and this album really gave it to me. So I really enjoyed this listen to it overall, and yeah, just the messaging overall. It's like it's classic R&B, love making, past relationships, and then learning from those relationships. You know what I'm saying? So I took it in, and I really enjoyed this project.
Yeah, definitely. To you, Savon, what were your initial thoughts? Because I mean, obviously, you've been a little critical of Division recently with some of their songs, but what did you? Oh my goodness, you're giving me the look. What did you think about this one? No, not back to.
He's killing me, bro. I used to be such a big Division fan, bro. He's got so mainstream, it kills me. Bro, if you go back and listen to the EP that him and Westcom dropped, the first ever music they ever dropped, that was true Division music. This other, even Muse was kind of, all this other stuff is mainstream, is boo-boo. Even Jermaine Dupri bald head self should have said, you know what? We're going to take you back to the beginning. Back to the 2000s. We're going to take you back to the beginning and get y'all right. But this wasn't it, bro. Like every song, I just maybe I'm not connected to music because I didn't like Westcom's album, Ari Lennox album. I didn't like that.
I still can't believe you didn't like that album, man.
I really didn't. I couldn't get into it, bro. Tell me I'm crazy, Reese. Tell me I'm crazy.
You're not that crazy. You're not that
crazy. I don't know, bro. I just did it. Now, we're going to talk about that later, but I got what I wanted this year.
I know you got what you wanted. Yeah,
I got what I wanted this year.
You got what you wanted.
I play that every day.
Yes.
I play it every day.
And now kind of getting into Westside Gunn's new album 10. In his latest project, it's a kind of another vintage Griselda type record with consistent flows over soulful beats that hit, and there's just confident deliveries and hungry bars throughout. But to you, Maurice, like, what are your thoughts on this project from Westside Gunn and kind of also some of the guests that he had on? Because he had an array of impressive guests as well.
Yeah, I think he had A$AP Rocky on there. Yeah. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really listen to Westside Gunn that much. So this is like my first project I listened to him. I don't know, man. It's not typically my style of music that I listen to. So I do listen to some artists that are more like the old school hip hop side, where they're like,
it's vintage, really vintage 90s.
Yeah, the vintage style. Like, I don't know if you guys know this guy named Mavi. I really like his stuff.
We just talked about his last album.
Yes,
yeah,
bro. Oh my god. Oh, dude, I wish I was on for that review. That album was amazing. But so for this album though, like for Westside Gunn, I don't know, man. I can't get behind of course Griselda's a legendary producer, but I don't know. Maybe I just am not that into that style of hip hop. Yeah. So like a lot of samples, a lot of talking and the skits kind of stuff. That's
DJ
happening in the background.
DJ Drama. Yeah.
So I was like, where's...
wow.
So I don't know. That's just me though. I like the more melodic stuff and like modern day hip hop, but that's still like that vintage style, but like modern style, like Mavi. So right. This album was all right. Like I listened to it, but I didn't really enjoy it that much, to be honest.
All right. To you, Savon, what were some of your takeaways on it?
You already know authentic hip hop.
Yeah.
I love this. That boom bap, the beats, the just like lyricism, bars, This is what hip hop was supposed to be until you get all this melodic stuff, which is cool. Mm-hmm. I ain't gonna hate.
You like the melodic stuff too, don't
They don't do that to me, man. I love it too, but I love hip hop. I love the old school hip hop MC and all that, the old jazz, the whole ensemble. I thought it was very solid. Westside Gunn really don't miss because he's in that pocket, and he's like, I give him a pass even if it doesn't sound good because he's authentically hip hop. And we missing that, you know what I mean? We're missing that type because Freddie Gibbs is on that vibes.
He does that as well.
He does, authentically hip hop. There's some other guys that do it too, but I think the number is decreasing every year because of the style of the modern hip hop or just the rap side stuff. So when I hear people who continue to do it, good job, brother. Will I do it?
Gotta experiment.
That's funny, man.
I won't do it, but
Savon, to you, were there any features or any tracks that kind of stood out to you mainly on this project?
DJ Drama, for sure. He spiced it up. Westside Pootie, I heard about him a couple years ago, but I thought his collab was good. Obviously, I like A$AP Rocky's flow. A$AP be flowing, but I think he's underrated. Like he was on the other thing that we Negos, the producers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he had 2 tracks on there. He went crazy, and I was like, A$AP Rocky is slapped on. But I don't really like him like that no more because
don't forget.
That's tough,
man.
Bro, that's my ex-wife, bro. We said we would get back together one day, and then she gonna get with A$AP Rocky, huh?
Hey man, that one day still coming. Don't worry.
Thank you. See, Wellington don't give me that hope.
Bro, I'm realistic.
Wow.
He's like, lift me up. I got
A$AP. Just wait till my boy Savon get famous, bro. That's all you gotta. That's all you gotta wait on. That's all you gotta wait on.
Taking on.
She's gonna I like your melodic raps, man.
And now getting into Smino's new album, Love for Rent. In his new project, it's kind of one of his most well balanced ones, and there's just an adequate amount of rapping with ever expanding vocality. This was just, to me, like a thoroughly consistent and well put together project from Smino. One of it's an album I keep going back to. I feel as though there's just so much versatility throughout it. But to you, Maurice, what were some of your initial thoughts on it and what you took from it?
Yeah, dude. I don't know why so many people so a lot of the old Smino fans, I guess, are people that have been with him since like the old days. They don't really like this album, but for me, like I've also been with Smino since like Nor and stuff like that. So I don't really understand why they don't like this album, because like, bro, this album to me sonically is like one of the most impressive albums that he's like, yeah, exactly, of the year, and especially that like in his past discography. I think this is like the most concise Smino like he experimented still, like he's still like growing and like expanding his sound sonically. But it felt so concise and it felt so well put together. And I think it's because he's been working on this for a while. You know, it's been a while. I think he delayed it like twice already. But yeah, dude, this album to me is impressive. I've been going back to it like every week, you know, just on repeat constantly. So this album, I saved a lot of songs. I really like the sonics of this album.
Yeah, it's special. To you, Savon, what were some of your thoughts on it and kind of like your main opinion of this entire project?
Smino is so versatile, bro. It's crazy.
Yes.
He can do any style that he wants to do, but I love the way he creates his own style. You have some similarities with other artists, but it's his style. Like oh, that's Smino. And you can tell that's Smino, and I love that about what he does with his music. And then he low key can sing too.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, bro. Yeah, Smino is versatile. And he got the bars, he got the lyricism, he got the creativity to try things, and it works. This album was really dope. I love the 90 Proof one with J. Cole. I thought that he.
Yeah, I was about to ask you what you thought about the J. Cole feature.
Yeah. Oh, it was nice.
Yeah,
it was nice. You always wonder because J. Cole can adapt to any type of track, but Smino's music is a bit different. But then you think of Earth Gang. Earth Gang is kind of similar, in certain styles or whatever. But so then I was like, oh yeah, it'll work. So when I played it, I was like, oh yeah. All right, that's saved. And okay, Blue Billy saved. Mentity, okay, saved. So I always go. I don't say the whole album. I save songs that I like, and then I'll re-listen to those, and I'll be like, okay, let me see. Piece it together, like a little puzzle. But nah, this was, I don't know why people don't like this. This was dope. Like he gave you every aspect of music. He gave you the Andre 3000.
It gave me Andre 3000 vibes. Yeah, it gave me Andre 3000 vibes. Yeah.
He gave you everything you wanted in music. He gave you bars. He gave you the melodicness. Like he gave you everything. Yeah, dope. Yeah.
And Monte Booker, man, just a phenomenal producer. I love his style is so unique, bro. I love it.
Let me get a beat by him. It's over with.
I'm saying, bro. Oh my god.
It's a rap.
He said, Riri will be calling him right now.
Won't you call my
And before we get to our next topic, Maurice, are there any other albums this year that you kind of are still kind of have on repeat and kind of have been going back to mainly? I mean, like for me, the Forever Story by JID is one up there. 2000 by Joey Vade. Kendricks is definitely still there. Vince Staples. Like, what have kind of been your top projects this year?
Yep, definitely the Kendrick album. Also the crap. What did you just say? I don't even know.
The Forever Story.
The Forever Story. Yeah. I forgot the name of the album. Yeah, JID. I've been going back to a couple of those songs. But other than that, man, I kind of just been like waiting on some new stuff because I listened to some like alternative artists too. Oh, actually, no. Oh, I forgot it. I mentioned this other, but the Mavi album that just came out this year. That I think he's been my number one artist this year. Like hands down, just like getting into that style, and finding artists like that. I've been kind of diving into that side of hip hop. So that album has been my and just like diving deeper into his discography. That's probably my album of the year so far.
Savon, are there any projects for you that you kind of keep going back to throughout the year?
Oh yeah, Kendrick's for sure. Shoot, dang, it's a bunch. Yeah, I'm just gonna say Kendrick because all the other ones not coming to my head right now. But no, Kendrick, I think it's still standing the test of
time and it's aging well.
Yeah, it's a bunch of other guys that I listen to albums that don't come to mind right now. But yeah, Kendrick's is still I still listen to that, bro. Yeah.
I guess the Baby Keem album too.
A lot of glue.
Yeah.
I like Keem.
He said nah.
He's passing. Keem was on the Kendrick album.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, the interlude was fire, but his sound of music individually, no.
That's fair.
Yeah, his sound music, I don't rock with. Oh, Wasteland. I like R&B mostly. Wasteland, Breezy, Chris Brown stuff. I'm going through my worship now. Yeah. That's pretty. Yeah.
A lot of good R&B albums too. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of good R&B albums this year. Sure. Yeah. If y'all don't know, y'all should listen to Chase Secure.
Okay.
Yeah, he's pretty dope.
All right. And getting into our next review with SZA's new song "Shirt." In her new single, this is just like a quintessential SZA type of song, and she's really perfected her style and being able to drive kind of the right type of song to lead up to an album, and the replay value is just extremely high. To you, Maurice, like, what are your initial thoughts on this track? As she's, it just always kind of picks the right track right before an album, and this is just another hit that's going to work for her well.
Yep. To me, it was just evidence that she has not lost her touch. She's still there. She's still in her pocket. You know what I'm saying? She knows what she has to do on this next project, and I this gives me really high expectations for this project. And yeah, dude, I've also had this song on repeat. It's a hitter. You know what I'm saying? So, I just love her style so much, so I'm pretty excited to see what she has coming, just based off this song alone. If is it coming out this year or is it dropping next year?
She hasn't said
next year.
She hasn't said yet.
How it's looking is like next year, because she gonna probably let this play out until the end of the year, and then let it play out into the next year, and then she's gonna drop in 2024.
We can't say that.
Yo, that'd be crazy though.
Oh my goodness. Any possibility of December? I mean, it could be a fourth quarter. It could be a fourth quarter release, but I think
this song is going so crazy.
It's going so crazy. Why even mess it up? Why even mess up momentum?
Because the video is going crazy too. I like the little snippet, like the control or whatever. Well, no, not even. I'm talking about like when she showed control, like it's overshadowing her career, her first album. I love that she put that in there. Like it was like 1 minute in. I love the song, man. I almost did the dance though. I almost did it. Don't tell nobody. But that song's dope, bro.
5 stars. Yeah. 5 stars.
Oh, for sure.
So good, man. So good.
The verses are good. Hooks are good too.
And that's another thing. Like, what are you kind of mainly expecting? Either one of you can start, but what are you guys mainly expecting from her second album in terms of just like in addition to what she did on Control? Because obviously it's been so long since we've got that, but what do you kind of want to see from the second project?
Songs like this. Songs like this, bro. I don't care if it has a message or not. Like, Control had a hidden message in there, but if she has a bunch of songs that don't even go together, she can make it a playlist. But it has to be songs like this.
That's fair.
Yeah, it has to be songs like this. At this point, we don't care what it is. And I think that's brilliant. It's brilliant marketing, but at the same time, as a consumer, like, bro, we want some more. But it's very strategic because she can put out anything and we'll love it. We'll like it. Because this song, she snippet this last year and she just now dropped it.
Just put it out.
And it's blowing up. It's probably already a diamond already. So songs like this. Yeah.
No, I definitely agree. I feel like I agree with what Savon said too about like since Control kind of had like the theme and the message on that, like she doesn't necessarily have to like kind of do that on this next project. She just has to kind of follow up and put a lot of bangers on an album, and I think like she'll like meet expectations for people. It would be nice to get like a themed album, but then you kind of get to start comparing like that versus like your first project. You know what I'm saying? So all she needs to do is just kind of. I still want her to keep that kind of like bedroom pop kind of style in terms of like being like not like indie, but like still like not mainstream. You know what I'm saying? Like keep that like freshness to her for this next project. That's kind of the tracks that I'm looking forward to. Some interludes, stuff like that. But my expectations are really high, so I'm pretty excited.
Definitely.
On top of that, before we go, wow, I just lost my train of thought.
Cut.
Oh, okay, that's what I was saying. I just don't want her to go down the road Bryson Tiller went
Bryson,
down.
yeah, you mentioned
Yeah.
Because
I
we
definitely
got
get that.
once he dropped that second album, his height went down.
Mm-hmm.
So if she's gonna wait this long, because we waited a minute for Bryson Tiller's too, and it did not hit the way we thought it was going to hit.
Yeah.
So I don't want her to go down that road. If you're gonna do this, make sure it's gonna hit. It gotta resonate. So that's my last little tidbit.
I agree. I don't think that'll happen though. I think just based off this song alone, like I think like
you can tell by the single as well.
Yeah.
I mean, we got Let Me Explain and a couple other songs from Bryson Tiller that was kind of strong.
Let Me Explain is kind of.
And I was like, oh, you let it come, let it come. I was like, okay, we about to get Bryson. And then he got the flop. So hopefully, SZA, I called you yesterday. You didn't answer me.
You can come on the pod before the. I set up that interview, that pre-album interview.
I don't want about no album.
So I got a feature here, no, bro. Like, she talking about this man on the album, bro. Just watch.
Oh goodness, we're gonna take a quick break and be right back with our review of The Wolf of Wall Street. Welcome back to the show, and now we're getting to our review of The Wolf of Wall Street. And to start with the overview of The Wolf of Wall Street, is a 2013 biographical comedy crime film directed by Martin Scorsese and written by Terrence Winter, based on the 2007 memoir of the same name by Jordan Belfort. Recounts Belfort's perspective on his career as a stockbroker in New York City and how his firm Stratton Oakman engaged in rampant corruption and fraud on Wall Street, which ultimately led to his downfall. Leonardo DiCaprio, who was also a producer of the film, stars as Belfort, with Jonah Hill as his business partner and friend. Also Donny Azoff, Margot Robbie as his wife, and Naomi LaPagale. But it had a budget of $100 million, brought in $406 million into the box office. It has an 80% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, included 5 awards at the 86th Academy Awards ceremony. But to you, Maurice, like to start it off, like what were your thoughts on this film? You know, it had extremely funny moments, self-referential, and just another one which Leonardo DiCaprio was extremely dynamic.
Yeah, this is one of those films I think I watched like a while ago, but when I did watch it at the time, like all my friends were like, "Oh, you gotta watch this." I was like, whatever. Like I'll watch it eventually. But when I did watch it, I was so glad that I did because man, this is like one of the best movies I've seen in a while. At the time when I watched it, but yeah, I did. It just all around was such a good film. Like from the comedic elements to like the story to the writing, everything was just solid. Even like the cinematography and everything like that. Just overall, it's the most hilarious movie I've seen in the time. So yeah, I really enjoyed this film overall.
Definitely. To you, Savon, like what were your initial thoughts on the film and the components in it?
Super funny. Had every element that I was looking for in the film, especially with being in a Leonardo DiCaprio and then a Martin Scorsese film. We get introduced to Margaret Robbie. I'm probably butchering her first name, whatever.
Yes, sir.
I was like, who is this? Where'd she come from? She got like 3 or 4 looking like celebrities that look like her, or she look like them because they've been solidified. But no, it's a bunch of great actors in there. We get Matthew McConaughey in his film. We get that. Like we get Jonah Hill. We got John Berthon. Even John Favreau. Like we get so many people in this film. And I don't understand how. I guess because it's Martin to get anybody to get in this film. But yeah, there's a lot of people in here. We got introduced to Christine Milioti. She came aboard on How I Met Your Mother at the end, and she was actually the mom or whatever. So we got introduced to a lot of people, and then we got actors that we love. So I thought it was star-studded, and it met expectations. For sure.
Maurice, a film that I talked to you about a long time ago. Well, not a long time ago, but recently, Amsterdam had a star-studded cast that didn't meet it. Like, what are your thoughts on when how when because a star-studded cast doesn't always work. Sometimes it doesn't meet the mark. Like, what are your thoughts on when a star-studded cast does meet the mark, and just like what decides it in terms of when you put all those talented actors together and actually does hit the mark?
I think at the end of the day, it boils down to like chemistry. I think like everybody in this film had chemistry with each other. Everybody understood the assignment and they just acted their roles and they did it really good. And they probably like challenged each other to pull stuff out of the role that if there were other actors that weren't as like big as them, they probably wouldn't have been able to like really challenge themselves to pull that out of the role. So But yeah, everybody just really killed their part. They played their parts really well. And yeah, I think my favorite person obviously in the film is, well, we'll get to that later.
It's just the intro. Let me not get ahead of myself.
Yeah.
Get into our first topic from 1 to 4 stars. What would you give it to you, Maurice? Like, what would be your particular rating for this film and some of your reasons?
Oh, definitely 4 stars. There's nothing in this film that I can like really knock away points for. Just because I think if anything, I guess even the length, yeah, it was a long movie, but it was funny the whole time. Like there was never like a slacking moment or anything. Yeah. So I think overall 4-star film, no doubt.
Yeah, I would definitely give it 4 as well. I mean, this was just a powerhouse performance from DiCaprio and Scorsese, and it really had a brilliant direction describing such an intriguing type of character. To you, Savon, what would be your particular rating for this one?
Oh, yeah, 4 stars. I loved how it was shot. It was shot so beautifully. Used a lot of different action types that I didn't think was necessary, but it worked well with the film, especially just like the scenes in the office, just like how it was shot. Yeah, it was beautifully shot. And then, I mean, it was super funny. You had a lot of improv moments. It checked boxes. Yeah, 4 stars. 4 stars for sure.
Definitely. And now getting into favorite character, one that really stood out to me, Donnie. He had such an important role as being, Jordan's best friend, and just the kind of the erratic nature of being confrontational was one of the biggest tide changes that kind of affected that business long term. To you, Maurice, like overall, who was kind of your favorite character in this one?
Oh, definitely Leonardo and his character. I just don't understand how he didn't get a Oscar for that, because dude, his performance was so good. Like he I believe that he was what is the dude's name that the movie's about?
Jordan Belfort.
Yeah. I really believe that it was him. Yeah, when watching it, it's so believable, right? Like he just plays the part so well, and I think he's played parts like that before in other movies, and he just really can play that character well. So hands down, definitely him.
Definitely. To you, Savon, who was kind of your overall favorite character in this one?
Oh, it's hard not to go with Jordan Belfort, but I'm gonna do his dad. I think. That's how his dad was in real life. There's videos that the real Jordan Belfort shared at his wedding, and his dad, you hear his dad in the background going crazy. So without that I'm pretty sure they added some other elements in it that wasn't true, but it's just like his character, just like really, especially in The Office, bro. It's like, did they cure cancer? Yes, they cured cancer. That's why it was so expensive, bro. Yeah, his comedic element in this movie was it was amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And now getting into most memorable scenes, I had the Money Chan. Also, I quit my job right now. Welcome to Stratton Oakman. I choose Rich every time. The Lamborghini scene, and then finally Jordan trying desperately to get Donnie off his tap phone. To you, Maurice, like what were some of the memorable scenes in this one to you, and kind of like the main ones that stood out?
Yeah. Definitely I think the most memorable to me is definitely the speech that he gave. Where he gave 2 big ones, I think. I'm not leaving one, and then also there was the one where he was inspired them at the beginning. But then besides that, obviously the car scene, just like that whole when the lemon drops or whatever they call it finally hit. Oh my gosh, that's probably the best scene. Like just hands down, super funny. Imagining what like in real life that would be like, and how much drugs they actually took and how hard that would hit. Like I could not imagine. And he just played it so well, So you would think that they actually took drugs to where they filmed that. So yeah, I think that was my favorite scene.
Yeah. To you, Savon, what were some of your memorable scenes in this one?
Had to be the scene where the dad came in and asked about the bill. That was that was so. What kind of credit cards? An expensive one. That was just amazing scene. And then I was just seeing when they were dancing. I don't know if they were at a wedding or something, but Leonardo DiCaprio started dancing when Jordan Belfort started dancing. He really can dance in real life. Obviously, he did that move, but it just, you add different elements of trueness to it because he improv that scene with the car. He improv that whole scene, which is crazy. And then, when he was trying to get the meat. Why would you stuff your mouth with ham and turkey. Where you just and then it was crazy. But no, those all of the scenes that you already mentioned, those two were really dope.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, when you have an actor like that who's improving certain scenes, like Savon, we mentioned in the past what Joe Pesci did with Goodfellas and that scene where he kind of goes on that rant. Like, what stands out to you particularly about that when an actor can do that and just kind of like think on the spot and really kind of go into character?
I think that's a trust between you and the director. Obviously, Leonardo DiCaprio was a director on this as well with Martin Scorsese, but most of the time, and a lot of directors will tell you this, they don't allow some actors to riff or improv. Quentin Tarantino said he was like, no, they're going to say my effing script. Yeah, it's okay for them to improvise a tiny bit, but you're going to stick to the script. So I think it's a trust with you and the director to be able to do something funny. Because without that scene, I mean, it would have been funny, but just adding that tail bit and him doing it with his foot and all that stuff, just adding that more into it, it makes it funnier and it makes it, you realize, oh, these drugs are strong. It brings an extra element to it. It makes the character more, So, and I think the Jonah Hill was improv too because he was like, "Yo, hit me for real," and he got laid out for real. Jonah Hill got put to sleep. No, he didn't get put to sleep, but he got hit for real.
Yeah.
He told
how much of that was improv though? Like that whole how much of that was improv?
No, because he was supposed to like fake like he was, but he was like, "I want to make it real." And Jonah Hill was like, "Hey, punch me for real." He actually, because John knows, like, he's a black belt, jiu-jitsu, all that stuff. He punched him for real. He got put to sleep.
Oh my gosh.
But Maurice Scorsese loved it though.
For that life.
Maurice Scorsese loved it though, and it's obviously it stayed in the film. So it's just like when the actors do riff and improv, most of it makes it, but some of it doesn't. But I'm glad that he kept majority of that stuff, which it makes it fun,
Definitely. And now getting into most memorable quotes, I had it: "If you want to be rich, never give up." Also, there's no nobility in poverty. Without actions, the best intentions in the world are nothing more than that, intentions. Also, I've been a poor man, I've been a rich man, and I choose rich every time. Also, I'm not leaving. And then finally, I forgot I lived in a world where everything was for sale. To you, Maurice, like, what were the standout quotes to you that you kind of feel as though were kind of the top tier ones?
Yeah, definitely without action, the best intentions in the world are nothing more than that, intentions. That one, that was good. The whole speech that he gave about not leaving, talking about when he was going down the story of the girl that shaved her head, to see her at the beginning and then like, oh, look at where she is now. That whole talk, and then like I think there's one that's like, I got the guts to die. What I want to know is, have you got the guts to live? That one's pretty good too.
Yeah, that was a good one.
It's just talking about living in the moment, you know what I'm saying, and just going for it. So yeah, those were my top tier ones.
Definitely. To you, Savon, like, what were kind of the clear standout memorable quotes in this movie for you?
Well, you guys already picked the good ones, so
always picks the good ones.
Always I'll just give you one. With him and Jordan Belfort and Mark Hamill, was like, "Oh, I'm good with water for now." He was like, "It's his first day on Wall Street. Give him time." So that just like gave you a tidbit of what's gonna come.
Yeah,
he became
it's just the beginning.
Just that. It was crazy.
He became just that. That's crazy. Like at the end of the movie, he's literally that guy. Like it's insane. Yeah. And now kind of getting into what did you like the most about the storyline? To me, like, this film really depicted kind of the intoxicating rush of all kind of the initial and instant success Jordan Belfort was experiencing, and kind of the eventual downfall that we always see in these movies when something is kind of magnified in terms of success that isn't really going to last. To you, Maurice, like, what particular element of this storyline did you kind of like the most?
Yeah, I mean, I loved how it kept it real. Like, it kept it real to the true story, and also just like, obviously there was like excess elements that they added to the story to make it more entertaining, but also, you know, they captured that moment, and then they like also like punished them later for like those excess things that they added. So they kept it real to like reality, you know, like stuff that happens in real life. Like, you're not going to get away with doing all these drugs, doing all this like behind the scenes stuff, you know what I'm saying? And I for one moment it seemed like he was going to get away with it, right? And then it's like, like you're right on the edge of it. You got away like clean, and then you go back into it. It just shows the addiction of like drugs and just like that lifestyle that he wanted to live. Like how you could be so close to it, and then just like that one decision you made can mess up everything. So, but yeah, I think that's like probably what I like the best, just the realness of it.
Yeah. For you, Savon, like kind of like what particular element of this storyline did you kind of like the most?
The comedy, man. You know, if you would have told me, like, even if it, it's based off a true story, but even if it wasn't, I think it'd still be a great film because it had that comedy element to it that kind of holds those. Because you get a little comedy in Martin Scorsese films, but it's not like crazy. This had so many comedic elements from beginning to end. Especially, I forgot a scene when he just got out of jail, and then he asked him, "You want a beer?" He was like, "It got non-alcoholic in it." Like, he was just going like, "What?" It got no alcohol in it. He was like, "Are you just doing it for like just those little elements there? Just it makes it fun. It makes it still engaging. Because sometimes if it's like 3 hours freaking long, you better have something in there to most of the time is killing and eating in Martin Scorsese films.
Yep.
Yeah.
This had
having spaghetti 3 a.m.
Yes.
And to close it out with our last topic, 10 years from now, like, do you still think it'll be watchable and intriguing? Obviously, it's crossed that checkpoint in so many ways. That the comedy, the amazing performances, and just the amount of the amount of incredible scenes in it that were just tied together with the improv, which is phenomenal. But to you, Maurice, like, what do you think will continue to make this just a watchable, intriguing movie another decade from now?
Yeah, I think just straight up comedy. I think that's like one thing that will hold the test of time is like that type of comedy will like there's like memes that like disappear in 6 months, right? They're not funny anymore. But that type of comedy was just like real like something that I can't relate to because I will never be that rich and I'll never like live that lifestyle. So it's just funny to see that on screen to be like, dang, like like this happened. And yeah, it's just like different than the type of comedy that is like around today. So like that will stand the test of time. So I definitely think like in 10 years I could rewatch it and laugh the same way I did now.
Definitely. So you, Savon, like, what do you think will just continue to make this a watchable and intriguing film even another decade from now?
Yeah, the comedy, man.
Yeah.
Most people don't even know this is based off a true story. Even though it says it in the movie, like you're so engulfed in just the comedy element of it.
You're thinking like, no way this is real.
Right. This can't be like, bro, like what's going on here? He did all of this? Like it's crazy. So I mean, yeah, and then Leonardo DiCaprio, he just fluent in a way to bring stories to life. It just that's his gift. He can do any story, any film. He can do any. He hasn't done a family film yet. Yes, he has. No, he hasn't.
What, Titanic?
No, definitely not a family film. He's drawing girls naked. They ain't no family film.
Wait, I thought it was a kid. What are you talking about, man?
I don't think he did a family film yet.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Huh? That's interesting. Maybe, but no, yeah. I mean, it's Leonardo DiCaprio, funny
Not
element
so
to
much.
it, and then Martin Scorsese.
Yeah,
absolutely.
All solidified. Yeah.
Definitely. Well, Maurice, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on. As always, just like good old times, man. Always good having you on, bro. So thank you so much for doing this. Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Well, that wraps it up for tonight. I'm your host, Wellington Burns, on my counterpart, Savon Morris. This has been Full Scope. See you later.